think it's great to empower women and talk about it.
I want to have an honest conversation.
We have to give ourselves a break, and we have to take a breath.
Like, I'm not perfect, but there isn't much I won't try.
Some days it works,
Some days it doesn't.
CNG Media.
Hi, and welcome back to episode 3 of Real Moms, Real Talk. I'm your host, Cathy Moyano. On today's episode called Oh Baby, we are going to be talking about having your first child, being pregnant, the first year, everything we thought it was going to be, and all the things it actually turned out to be. Today, my guest is the beautiful Julie, who has one child so far, and he actually just turned a year.
Yes, he
Welcome.
did. Thank you for having me.
Yo, thank you for being here. So tell me a little bit about your son. How old is he?
So my son, Colin James, CJ we call him, he just turned 1 at the end of November.
Exciting.
Yes, he is a angel child, like sleeps 13, 14 hours through the night, takes 1 2-hour nap during the day. His child eats whatever I give him, loves his mama, of course.
Of course.
I mean, I have to say it's everything plus more that I wanted from my first, like from having a child in general.
That's great. You got lucky.
I got very
Yeah.
I hear some
Let's-
horror stories.
let's
I got
hope
very
it
lucky.
continues that way. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your actual pregnancy. Did you enjoy being pregnant? Did you have phobia about gaining a lot of weight? Did you gain a lot of weight? Did you care? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
I hate pregnancy.
Okay.
If I had the choice, I would pick a surrogate.
Okay.
I was hospitalized for almost a month. I have a stomach disease that relapsed and I was internally bleeding. So I lost a significant amount of weight my first trimester, which scared the doctors. Luckily, they put me on treatments and I was in remission and the baby was perfectly healthy. He was safe, which was most important because he was protected by all the amniotic fluids.
Well, that's a lot to handle, especially during your
16
first
weeks.
time being pregnant.
And the first 16 weeks, a lot of fear. I was I was requesting the doctors when I was in the hospital every other day do an ultrasound and let me hear his heartbeat, let me see him move. I was completely petrified.
I think any mother going through that, especially with their first child, or any pregnancy, would feel the same way.
But then after that, luckily, I had the support system I needed. My cousin's a physical therapist. She put me through physical therapy, got my strength
For
back.
what?
I lost so much muscle mass. I lost 21 pounds while pregnant in the hospital. So I was so weak, it was hard for me to go upstairs.
So what was your and your doctor's plan as far as the actual birth? Or did you gain the weight back a little bit or enough weight by the time you gave birth?
So interesting enough, I started my pregnancy at 120 pounds. Before I was hospitalized, about up to 136. So gaining healthy weight.
Okay.
Then I lost 21 pounds.
Wow.
Then by the end of my pregnancy, I gained weight at a whopping 189. I gained 75 pounds in my pregnancy. And I had no shame about it, to be honest.
Okay.
I did not care. I was like, this is my time for my body to get in its comfort zone.
Yeah. Because I know you were also big into working out. Like that was very important to you before you even got pregnant.
Yeah, and it still is a big part of my life. My mom is a personal trainer, so it kind of just embedded in our systems at this point. But I had no shame in it because my mom has always taught us you eat what your body craves and you go run an extra mile, you go walking. I walked every day during my pregnancy and post-pregnancy, and I am back down to 129 pounds.
That's
great. That.
Yeah.
It's amazing what your body can do when you're giving it the right nurture.
Totally agree.
Don't stress it out. I'm very big into that. Feel what your body's feeling. Don't push it to do something it can't handle at that point.
Yeah.
Because
and it's also a really good excuse to have a little extra ice cream here and there, or whatever your indulgent, food is or your craving.
I would get up at 4 a.m. and literally eat a roast beef sandwich.
I remember being pregnant with my first long time ago, and I just ate. Like I was not conscious about what I ate. Being fit, let's say, during pregnancy was not something I cared about. I wish I did. I wish I did, because I think, and then after you have more kids, your body just changes and it's just harder to kind of get it back, you know? And then especially I think after your first, you do bounce back really quickly. Because I remember I was back in that bikini. I was like, oh, this is great.
It's amazing.
It is.
Like,
it is what your
first-
body can do.
I told myself it took 9 months to create him. Give yourself 9 months to get back to where you are. And within those 9 months, done.
Yeah.
Like I was back. I was like, oh, this feels nice.
Yeah.
Very minimal effort, I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm not at the gym at 5 a.m. working out like I used to. But I do workouts at home here and there. I go walking constantly.
But the walking, I think, is great too. I think it's good for you physically, probably for your mindset too, and for the baby.
For the baby. And then I also have a dog too.
Yeah.
So, and the dogs too.
And they all come. You all go together.
You all just get out of the house and we somehow make it down the block.
So let's talk about a little bit coming home from the hospital with the baby. Do you remember, let's say, literally the ride home and having like this human next to you? Like, do you remember your first day and night at home and what you were feeling like? Holy shit, I just created this thing, like it's here.
So the car ride home was interesting. We'll say that, because my husband's normally not a slow driver. And seeing my husband in the right lane doing 25 miles per hour on Route 3 going home like this was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But we got home. Everything was great. I remember it was raining. I remember that was the one thing that scared me driving, was it was raining with our newborn. I sat in the back seat with him. And then I remember Rich, my husband, we just set up shop in the living room and we kind of just brought all of his stuff down there. We put him in that swing for the first few days, because it was every 3 hours somebody was up.
Yeah.
We did that for about 2 weeks. Not gonna lie, we just all kind of camped out in that living room with the dog, everybody.
Yeah.
Then he had to go back to work.
Okay.
Which was like, I knew that was gonna happen.
Right.
So we had a spare bed in the baby's nursery. And I stayed in there with him. So when the 3 o'clock feedings, 6 o'clock feedings had to come around, we kind of just got up.
Gotcha.
But within 2 months, he was sleep trained.
So was that something you wanted done, or because I know there are some moms there's probably debate. Well, there is probably still debates on, get that sleep schedule down. If you have to bring them into your bed so you could get a good night's sleep, do that. Or so sounds like you were on the schedule side.
Yeah. So I can go without a lot. I need sleep.
You need sleep.
I can literally go 4 days no eating. Don't give me water. I don't need a shower, but I need sleep. Yeah. That's like one thing that my mind definitely needs to function.
Did you have a little, I don't want to, or maybe was it anxiety, or were you nervous when you did have to go back to work, that sleep was one of the things that you since it's so important to you and you need it? Is that why you think you were so firm on having a sleep schedule for him?
Yes, because life does have to continue. I had to go back to work. There was no option about that. And I think it's also just good for his growth. Sleep is one of the most important things that every single human needs to heal, to grow, and it also helps brain development. So the more sleep he gets, the better he is at intaking information and, developing any type of cognitive functions. So I think sleep's very important for him.
I do
and
too.
Also for me. I mean, honestly, and you don't want to stress out Mama Bear. That's one thing for sure. You do not want an angry Mama Bear walking around the house.
So your time at home before you went back to work, what were some of the things that you remember as far as being fun or overwhelming? Or do you remember, did you ever have any episodes of like crying, all of that above? Because it's a lot. It's a lot that, I mean, your body's not back to normal. It takes time.
Yes.
People want to come and see the baby all the time. And it's hard to balance all that because you also need time with the baby. You and your husband need time with the baby. You need time alone. It's a lot.
I'm very much a people pleaser. I want everybody to like me. I want everybody to be happy.
Okay.
When it came to my son, it was completely different.
Okay.
Gloves were off. Like, that was it. Mm-hmm. If you
give me an example.
If you didn't have your whooping cough shot, you were not allowed at the house until he had his 2-month shots.
Okay.
End of story.
Okay.
So if you wanted to be in that child's life constantly, that's what you needed. So my mother-in-law, my mother, my father, my father-in-law, they all got it. No hesitation. A lot of my friends do have kids, so they were able to come over because they had the shot from having their own child. Mm-hmm. So it worked out. Also, I think what was really good that my cousin spoke to me about, because my son was born at the end of November. Christmas is a month away. My son doesn't have his shots.
Right.
I was very upset, and I remember calling my cousin, and he told me, he's like, there's more holidays. Don't stress yourself. He's your most important priority. And he was absolutely right. So we brought my son to my mom's house, but we were the only ones that were allowed to hold him.
Okay.
We didn't want people like smothering him, licking him, kissing him. You know, these old Italian mothers, they go up to like, their hands are gross. Like, no, like.
And then you get he'll be fine.
I mean, like, I'm not a germophobic. I never have been about COVID. I never was about a lot of stuff, but he's still forming.
Right.
I think up until 4 months, their whole entire body's forming, their digestive system, their immune system.
So did you get let me see what the word I'm looking for. Did you get any pushback or not slack, but from your mom, let's say, because I'm sure she raised you differently or did things differently than you're doing with your own.
She was not pleased. We'll say that. But I did just have to tell her, like, it's for his safety and there's other holidays. And I also have to remember, people aren't doing it because they're mad at me or they're mean.
Of course.
It's because they are so excited to love and spoil this child.
Absolutely.
And then when I was like, oh, there's always next Christmas, and he'll remember that one better and he'll be more interactive, which is this year.
Yeah, he'll remember when he's 5.
He had a cold and didn't go to Christmas anyway. So I just shot myself in the foot with that one. But
I think the first few Christmases and holidays are really just for us, like his first birthday, because they have no recollection.
They have no recollection. But, like, I did hear something that I really did, like, take in. They might not remember the memory, but they remember the feeling of that experience.
Yes. Funny that you bring up the feeling, because I feel even if you're, let's say you plan the pregnancy because you think you're ready, or you're pregnant because oops, or, you know, whatever the circumstances are, you know, and you're doing XYZ that you've read, or whether your mom told you or your friends told you, I think at the end of the day, all that matters, but not as much as the well-being of you as the mother, because I think your baby does feed off your energy. So if you're stressed or overwhelmed and you're trying to, let's say, breastfeed, I remember that happened with my first. I had the baby blues. I didn't know I had the baby blues. Everything was overwhelming to me, and I'm trying to breastfeed and it's not working. And, you know, I couldn't get up, shower, like have coffee. It was just a lot. Looking back at it now,
it is a lot, but
because we have to take care of ourselves.
Because I also think women put this pressure on them that they need to do certain things. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. One of the things my doctor told me, my gastroenterologist, my gynecologist, since I had all those issues in the beginning, they would be in the hospital with me together in the same room and speaking about our plans of action. They said the worst thing for you to be as a mother is stress. Stress clouds your mind. It also causes inflammation in your body. So now you're physically harming yourself.
Right. And especially those first 6, 8, 12 weeks with the baby.
So they asked me, they said, will breastfeeding stress you out? And I said, yeah. And it's also, no offense, let's be honest, ladies, it's going to make you resent your husband. Now you're obligated to get up for every feeding because they're attached to your boob. I mean, come on.
Right. I think that's a personal choice.
I think like it's, but I understand why women get so mad that are breastfeeding. It's hard.
It's hard.
Although
people will tell you it's easier.
I've had friends that breastfed their kids till they were 2, and they had the easiest time.
Right.
And that's great for them. But if it doesn't work out, I don't think women should be beating themselves up for that. I think that...
I agree, and I don't think other women should judge other women for choosing whatever they feel is best for their child.
Every child has different needs, and you It's funny, my friend, she told me this when I guess you could say I was going through the baby blues. Like some nights I was like, this is just really hard.
It's so hard.
I had two friends. They
Wait
both.
till you have teenagers. So fun.
I had two friends that had kids 6 months before me.
Uh-huh.
And I remember just in our group text being like, I can't do this. This is so hard. Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right?
But I think that's so great. You have that support system, and so many friends of yours have babies around the
Yes.
same age, give or take.
It's a beautiful
I think that's beautiful.
It
Yep.
really is. It's so nice. We do a lot together. But the one thing my friend said with me that stuck to me, and I said it to other moms that I'm friends with, is you are the best mother for your child. And I was like, oh my God, I am.
Yeah.
So like I was thinking all these other people would be better at raising my son. Like, am I doing this right? Would they be better off with this type of mom or this? Trying to compromise who I am for him. He's going to love me regardless. And it took me a few months to realize that. But
Yeah, and you will continue to grow and change as a mom because you will become more confident. Once you decide, if you decide to have more children, you're going to apply everything you did with your first and realize, shit, this isn't working.
great.
And then you're like,
really convincing.
well, yeah, because I thought I did the same thing. And then my second came and he was throwing up every time we tried to feed him. He was throwing up and then he couldn't go to sleep. And then you literally put him down, you turn around and he started crying. Like, you want to talk about sleep deprivation? It was sleep deprivation. But
And you went right back to work after maternity leave.
yeah, so my first child was a daycare baby.
Okay.
I had to go right back 6 weeks with the job that I had. Second one,
Oof.
yeah, it was 6 weeks. It was, I still remember the feeling of that first day. My husband took him. I said, I can't take him to daycare because I'll quit my job. If I take this child to
Oh
daycare
my
right now, I will
gosh.
quit my job and not, like you said, not an option. So he took him. And then I remember driving to work. So it was like, usual 8:30ish, whatever. And all I see is moms and the strollers. And now I'm crying, right? I'm crying. I'm like, what am I doing? I can't do this. Why? All
Yeah.
of these emotions. But you get through it. My second one was a daycare baby a little bit until I got laid off.
Okay.
He was like about a year. He got laid off, and then oops, pregnant again. So life happens.
Yeah.
So I tried. I didn't breastfeed with the second because the birth was, it's a separate episode there. So he was bottle fed. And then Gabby, I breastfed, and you would have thought I was like a cow. It just endless supply of milk.
Oh my gosh.
But at that point, I was home, and with two other kids, it was too hard to. I mean, I was literally walking around trying to make mac and cheese.
And how far apart are number 2 and number 3?
They are 20, 21.
Yeah, so you're chasing around
Yeah, it was
a
crazy.
toddler
Chaos.
with a newborn stuck to your boob,
Best time of my life. Yeah.
But see, that's definitely. I do want a second child.
Are you ready for one now? You want to wait a little bit
No,
more?
I due to my disease that caused me to be hospitalized the first pregnancy. I did just start treatments, so I have to wait 6 months on these treatments, and then I have to go for one more test to make sure that all my inflammation has subsided. So maybe by the end of the year. But to be honest, I don't like saying I'm gonna be pregnant in October.
Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
My husband and I got married in January, and I said, this is supposed to be the fun part. I'm not going to pee on one ovulation stick. I'm not going to check my temperatures or whatever, or be on those apps that
But you
time it.
guys decided to start having right away?
Said,
You want to start a family right after getting married?
Yeah, but we said we'll go with the punches, whether it's 2 months, 6 months, 2 years, whatever. We'll just do what our body says. So I got off of birth control in December, got married in January, March got pregnant. It stuck like that. So, and I think because I wasn't stressing myself out, the
Stress is a big factor.
that's something you need to let go of.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I think society puts a lot of pressure on mothers, and there's a lot that we're supposed to do, and it's unfair.
the physical part of it really upsets me.
Meaning what?
That I feel, I mean, my kid is always cleaned up, looks nice. I kind of go out of the house in a loungewear and my hair in a bun and no makeup on. Mm-hmm. And I feel like society judges you. They want you to be this MILF in essence. Yeah. You and your child have to look perfect at all times. Mm-hmm. You have to be in jeans and a low-cut sweater, and you have to just look. Your hair and makeup always has to be.
Yeah, it's not
realistic.
It's
a struggle.
It's not.
It's
not
a
realistic.
Struggle.
I will say I was the same way with my first, and a little bit with my second, and then I said, you know what? Let me take the shower first. Let me at least blow dry my hair first, and then let me get them dressed, and then maybe I could put a little lip gloss on.
Okay.
You know,
you do start to work now.
Little bit.
Now that he's not in daycare, but he's at like a babysitter a couple times a week, so I can work. The days I do go into the office, I do put some effort in. I try to most days, but
some days it works.
Some days it doesn't. I tell you, because he is in a good schedule, and if he doesn't get up till 7:30, there's no reason why I can't be in the shower at 6 and start to get myself ready.
Do you remember the feeling when you went back to work, or a couple days, or the week before you had to go back to work like that? I think every woman that has to go back to work gets anxiety about that.
I got so much anxiety that I drank myself stupid the weekend before. Not gonna lie,
numb yourself.
I got so upset. I was crying, drunk off of champagne.
Yeah.
Not a cute look. But then the first day I went back to work, I was upset. The first time I went into the office, I remember crying at my desk. Mm-hmm. And then after the first week, I sat there and I go, oh wait, I can eat lunch with nobody by me.
Right.
I can go do running around at my lunch break and go to Target by myself.
And think.
Yeah. I can just sit here and listen to a podcast without somebody screaming or the dog barking or somebody needing something. And now I love the balance I have because I do have the luxury of working from home. Mm-hmm. So my son is babysat at my house some days while I work upstairs, which I get to go downstairs and be like, hi, honey. Yeah. So I never feel like because I wouldn't be able to handle a 9 to 5 in the office because my son's asleep by 7.
Right.
So I get him for an hour and a half. Right. And then that's it. You're going to bed?
Yeah.
That's not a life either.
That was my life.
I couldn't do.
That was my life.
I will admit that. I could not do that. I would have quit my job.
It was no. Very, very difficult.
I do have a big luxury of a boss that allows us to work from home. So I feel like I do have a relationship with my son because of that, which is a blessing. And then when he is watched, he's watched by family.
That's great.
Which I feel like is my energy kind of. So like he's feeding off of this family. Yeah. So he knows he's truly loved. I don't think I'd be able to handle going back to the office and dropping my kid off at day. I don't know how you had that strength. Yeah. God bless you.
Well, it sounds like you had a really good, positive year, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
And I think you're doing a great job with your son. And keep going.
Thank you.
And just roll with the punches. I'm so glad you took the time out of your day to come here and be my guest. And I would hope that you actually come back because I feel like there is a lot more things that we can talk about as far as being a first-time mom. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.